Stop. Do not scroll further, because what I'm about to reveal is not entertainment. It is a lens you cannot take off once you put it on. It is the lens that Niccolo Machiavelli himself used to dissect kings, generals, and entire nations. A lens so precise, so merciless, that it exposes not only the motives of others, but your own. 500 years ago, Machiavelli was hated, exiled, and condemned, not because he lied, but because he told the truth too clearly. He wrote The Prince, not as a fantasy, but as a manual for power. And in those pages, he mapped the darkest terrain of human psychology. He showed that people are not what they pretend to be. They are driven by forces older than morality, deeper than loyalty, stronger than love. Here's the brutal part. Once you see this, you cannot unsee it. You will walk into family dinners and spot hidden rivalries. You will listen to friends' compliments and hear the calculation beneath them. You will watch your boss smile and know whether it is strategy or sincerity. This video is not for the faint of heart. If you want to keep believing that people act out of pure kindness or selfless love, leave now. Stay in the dream. But if you are ready to awaken to reality, to understand why people betray, why they flatter, why they pretend, then stay, because you are about to gain something few ever have. The ability to see people as they are, not as they wish to appear. Here is what you must understand. Every empire begins not with an army, not with wealth, not with applause, but with one man who sees clearly. That man can be you, if you dare. By the end of this, you will know Machiavelli's hidden laws. You will understand why masks exist, why self-interest rules, why betrayal is inevitable, why appearances matter more than truth. And once you know these laws, you will move through life with an advantage others will never comprehend. But I warn you, this is a one-way door. Cross this threshold and your illusions will die. In their place, clarity will be born. Are you ready? Then let us begin. Machiavelli wrote a brutal truth that echoes through every age. Men in general judge more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can feel. What did he mean? That people will always believe what they see you appear to be, not what you actually are. And because of that, the clever learn to wear masks. This is the first hidden law. Virtue is often camouflage. People do not walk through life unmasked. They cannot. They know instinctively that if they revealed their raw hunger, their selfish desires, their jealous thoughts, they would be punished, rejected, or destroyed. So they wrap themselves in virtue. They say, "I only want what's best for you." They smile and present themselves as generous, loyal, honest. But beneath that surface, strategy coils like a snake. Look around you. The boss who praises your hard work before asking you to stay late isn't just being kind. He is setting you up to comply. The friend who always says, "I'm just being honest," isn't serving truth. He's using bluntness to establish dominance without accountability. The influencer who posts daily about humility while chasing followers isn't modest. She is strategically monetizing modesty itself. None of this makes them villains. It makes them human. Because as Machiavelli knew, masks are survival tools. Without them, we would be devoured by each other's raw motives. But here's the Machiavellian twist. While most men wear masks unconsciously, the powerful wear them deliberately. They understand the stage of appearances. They know that perception is more valuable than truth. So how do you defend yourself? You must learn to see through the mask without tearing it off. Ask one simple question in every interaction. What does this person gain if I believe this image? When your colleague insists he's just happy to help, ask what security or recognition he secures by playing the helpful man. When your partner insists, I only want what's best for us, ask what comfort or control they gain if you accept their narrative. The weak accept appearances at face value. The powerful look beneath them. Machiavelli's warning is this: never confuse someone's image with their essence. The mask of virtue is not evil, it is theater. But if you mistake theater for reality, you will forever be a spectator, never the director. The first step in seeing the world as it is this: assume every mask conceals something. Your task is not to rip it away, but to read it, to study it, to recognize that the mask itself is part of the game. Here is the truth Machiavelli whispered into the ears of princes, a truth so sharp that people still deny it 5 centuries later. Every action serves the actor first, always, not sometimes, not occasionally, not only when greed or lust is involved, always. The parent who sacrifices for their child, they are meeting their deepest need, to protect their genetic legacy, to feel irreplaceable, to gain the purpose that justifies their existence. The philanthropist who donates millions, they are buying prestige, cleansing guilt, polishing their self-image, and securing a legacy. The friend who comforts you in crisis, they are fulfilling their own psychological hunger for significance, for connection, for being the one who was there. Your mind rebels against this. It screams, but what about true love? What about pure kindness? What about selflessness? And here is Machiavelli's brutal answer. Self-interest does not cancel love, it powers it. Self-interest does not destroy kindness, it explains it. Self-interest is not cynicism, it is gravity. The weak recoil from this idea because it feels ugly. The strong embrace it because it makes people predictable. To wield this law, you must learn the 3 levels of motivation, the real motivation matrix. Level 1, the story. This is what people tell you, and often tell themselves. I'm just helping. I did it for you. It's the right thing. Level 2, the strategy. This is what they are actually trying to accomplish. Securing influence, avoiding conflict, maintaining control, achieving advancement. Level 3, the survival. This is the deepest need being met. Status, security, recognition, belonging, power. When you learn to decode these levels, the fog lifts. That colleague's humility is revealed as a strategy for likability. That lover's sudden affection before asking for a favor is revealed as survival instinct. And here is the turn that shakes your very core. You are no different. That time you helped a friend, you gained the feeling of being valuable. That compliment you gave, you secured social credit. That sacrifice you made, you escaped the guilt of saying no. This does not make you bad. It makes you human. And once you admit this, you no longer stumble through life confused by mixed signals. Instead of asking, why would they do this? You ask the only question that matters. What do they gain? And with that question, the world of appearances collapses into clarity. Machiavelli's writings carry a terrifying observation. Men are not mysterious, they are predictable. Scratch beneath the surface of anyone's personality, and you will find 2 engines powering their choices: desire and fear. And because those engines are ancient, primal, and repetitive, most people behave like clockwork. The man who craves validation will always chase recognition. The woman who fears abandonment will always cling when she senses distance. The colleague who lusts for advancement will always overextend when opportunity glimmers. Once you map someone's desires and fears, their future actions are no longer mysteries. They are inevitabilities. This is why Machiavelli insisted that rulers study psychology as closely as they studied war. Because while weapons can wound the body, predictability enslaves the soul. Think of the predator in the wild. He does not need brute force if he knows when the herd will migrate, when the prey will drink, when fear will make them scatter. The same principle applies to human beings. You do not need to shout, threaten, or beg. You need only to know what they cannot resist and what they cannot endure. Consider some examples. That ambitious coworker who lights up when praised. Praise becomes the leash. He will run wherever you lead, provided he believes recognition is waiting at the end. That insecure friend who panics at silence. Withhold attention, and they will chase you to restore equilibrium. That partner who thrives on admiration. Feed it sparingly, and you control the tempo of the relationship. Do you see? You don't need to manipulate overtly. You only need to observe patterns, because patterns are prophecy. Here is your Machiavellian exercise. Begin journaling. Each time someone reacts strongly, whether with joy, anger, jealousy, or fear, write it down. Track it. Within weeks, you will see repetition. You will see the cues that trigger them. You will know their weaknesses better than they do. The masses believe they are complex, unique, unfathomable. The truth? They are routines wearing human faces. And those routines are guided by the same primal forces Machiavelli documented centuries ago. This is why the powerful appear almost supernatural. They are not fortune tellers. They are simply observers. While others are blinded by words, they watch the patterns. And once you see the pattern, you already know the ending. That is the weapon of predictability. It does not just let you anticipate, it lets you control. Every man who rises in power must accept a brutal law. You will face allies, you will face enemies, and you will face betrayal, not as possibilities, as certainties. Machiavelli warned rulers that to mistake friendship for permanence is suicide. Allies are useful, yes, but their loyalty lasts only as long as you serve their interests. The moment you no longer advance their survival, they drift, or worse, they turn. And here's the paradox. Enemies are often more reliable than friends. Why? Because an enemy's intent is obvious. They wear their hostility openly. They push against you without disguise. You can measure them, respect them, anticipate them. A friend, however, can smile while sharpening the blade. This is why betrayal cuts deeper than any open attack. It comes from those you trusted, those you allowed closest to your fire. Machiavelli insisted, never be shocked when betrayal comes. Expect it, plan for it, and when it arrives, act decisively. Consider the lessons of history. Julius Caesar was not destroyed by foreign armies, but by senators he once called allies. Napoleon's downfall accelerated when his supposed partners abandoned him. In your own life, betrayal will rarely come from strangers. It will come from the colleague who envied your promotion, the lover who resented your independence, the friend who felt overshadowed by your growth. The weak are shattered by betrayal because they cling to illusions of eternal loyalty. The strong anticipate it. They study the signs. Hesitation in speech, sudden excuses, a tone that shifts from warmth to envy, a new eagerness to please others instead of you. People reveal the dagger long before they plunge it, if you're watching. Here is Machiavelli's brutal prescription. Betrayal must never go unpunished. If you forgive openly, you teach others that betrayal carries no cost. If you punish swiftly and decisively, you plant fear so deep that others think twice before imagining treachery. This does not mean reckless cruelty. It means strategic demonstration. Make an example once, and you rarely need to repeat it. And remember this chilling truth: only the powerful are betrayed. The weak are simply abandoned. If daggers are aimed at your back, it means you have become dangerous enough to be worth plotting against. So do not mourn betrayal. Expect it, respect it, use it. Each dagger aimed at you is proof of your rising significance. Just make sure that when the blade appears, your fortress is already ready, and the traitor regrets ever testing you. Every ruler, every leader, every man who seeks influence eventually faces the same ancient question. Is it better to be feared or loved? Machiavelli's answer has echoed through centuries with ruthless clarity. If you cannot be both, it is safer to be feared. Why? Because love is fragile. Love depends on moods, emotions, shifting tides of affection. A man loved today may be hated tomorrow, and nothing is more fickle than human admiration. People love you when you serve them, when you give them pleasure, when you protect their comfort. But the moment you fail, that love evaporates like smoke. Fear, however, roots itself deeper. Fear does not require constant feeding. Fear is primal. It is etched into survival itself. A man who fears consequences will hesitate before betraying you, no matter how much he envies or dislikes you. Fear locks obedience into the spine. But Machiavelli also issued a warning. Raw cruelty is weakness. A tyrant who lashes out blindly, who abuses without strategy, dies hated and hunted. Fear must be crafted like a blade, sharp, precise, unforgettable, but never reckless. If you punish, punish swiftly and with purpose. Strike in such a way that the memory of the act spreads further than the act itself. That way, you rarely need to strike twice. This does not mean love is worthless. Properly cultivated, admiration can bind loyalty. Acts of generosity, moments of recognition, well-timed displays of warmth, these inspire devotion. But love alone cannot hold power. It must always be anchored by the shadow of fear. The optimal strategy is balance. Give enough kindness to inspire devotion, but enough coldness to prevent contempt. Reward wisely, so that loyalty feels worthwhile. Punish decisively, so that disloyalty feels unthinkable. Apply this in your own life. With allies, show enough generosity to bind them to your cause, but enforce boundaries that remind them where respect begins. With enemies, let them admire your strength, but ensure they know the cost of challenging you. And with yourself, cultivate a double edge. Love your ambition enough to fuel it, but fear your weakness enough to destroy it before it grows. Understand this balance, and you step into rare air. For if men love you without fearing you, they will exploit you. If they fear you without loving you, they will plot against you. But if they do both, if they admire your presence and fear your consequences, you have achieved the untouchable state Machiavelli prized above all. Machiavelli understood something most men never grasp. Reality matters less than perception. It is not who you truly are that determines your influence. It is who others believe you to be. People respond to images, symbols, stories, not bare truth. That is why appearances are not decoration. They are currency. Think of history's most cunning rulers. They did not always possess the greatest armies or the deepest treasuries. What they possessed was the ability to project strength, to appear untouchable, even when they were vulnerable. They understood that perception alone can deter enemies, attract allies, and bend events to their will. This law operates today with the same ruthless efficiency. The businessman who projects calm during a market collapse is trusted more than the one with greater resources but visible panic. The leader who speaks sparingly, with precision, appears wiser than the chatterer who knows more but cannot stop revealing himself. The influencer who crafts an image of discipline and success attracts more loyalty than the one who exposes every flaw. Here's the brutal truth. People are not searching for truth. They are searching for certainty. And the one who controls appearances becomes the one who provides it. So how do you weaponize this law? First, learn the art of silence. When you speak less, every word gains weight. When you reveal little, imagination fills the void. People project strength onto mystery. Second, cultivate ambiguity. Never let anyone fully calculate your power, your resources, or your intent. A fog of uncertainty makes people cautious, hesitant, deferential. Third, guard your reputation. Reputation is a fortress that often defends itself. A single, well-timed rumor, a carefully planted story, can spread faster than fact. And once established, reputation becomes reality. But remember, appearances must be managed strategically, not recklessly. If your mask is exposed as false, your credibility collapses. That is why Machiavelli advised rulers to appear virtuous without always being so. Appear merciful, but strike when necessary. Appear generous, but give only when it secures loyalty. Appear honest, but reveal only what strengthens your image. Understand this. Truth has power, but perception has gravity. It pulls men's decisions, shapes their loyalties, directs their fears. You don't need to control reality to win. You only need to control what people believe reality to be. That is the Machiavellian mastery of appearances. Not to live in lies, but to bend truth into image, and image into influence. Machiavelli warned that the greatest danger to any ruler was not enemies at the gate, but weakness within himself. The prince who cannot master himself will be mastered by others. This is the final and most crucial law. Before you control appearances, alliances, or enemies, you must command your own mind. Most men are slaves to their impulses. They erupt in anger when insulted. They chase desire without strategy. They reveal their envy through careless words. They surrender to comfort when discipline is required. Every weakness inside becomes a weapon for others to use against them. But the one who governs himself becomes untouchable. What does this mastery look like? Emotional discipline. Rage may burn inside you, but you use it as fuel, not a leash. Desire may tempt you, but you dictate its timing. Fear may whisper, but you choose your response. When others lash out or crumble, you remain calm, unreadable, immovable. Strategic patience. Power is not gained by frantic motion, but by waiting for the precise moment to strike. The disciplined man can sit in silence, watching others expose themselves. He wastes no words, no energy, no movement. And when he acts, his action lands like thunder. Detachment. The untouchable man does not tie his identity to possessions, applause, or even loyalty. He values allies but does not rely on them. He values victory but is not destroyed by temporary defeat. His strength comes from within and therefore cannot be taken from without. To master yourself is to build an inner fortress. Anger cannot storm it. Temptation cannot breach it. Betrayal cannot collapse it. This fortress makes you dangerous because men who cannot be shaken are feared more than armies. And here lies the paradox. To wield masks effectively, you must first remove your own. You must confront your desires, your insecurities, your addictions to validation. You must strip yourself bare before you can dress yourself in power. Only then can you choose the mask deliberately. To appear calm when chaos rages, to appear generous when it binds loyalty, to appear merciful when it magnifies your strength. Masks stop being defenses, they become weapons. Machiavelli's final lesson is this: every empire begins with self-mastery. Without it, you will forever be ruled by others, by their opinions, their manipulations, their judgments. With it, you need no crown, no army, no applause. You are already sovereign. The world bends first to the man who bends himself. You have now walked through Machiavelli's darkest corridors of truth. You have seen the masks people wear. You have understood the engine of self-interest. You have learned that patterns make men predictable, that betrayal is inevitable, that fear and love are weapons, that appearances outweigh reality, and that the final mask is mastery of yourself. And now, the warning. You cannot go back. Once you learn to see the world through this lens, innocence dies. At the next family gathering, you will recognize the unspoken rivalries. In your workplace, you will hear the strategy behind every compliment and the calculation behind every silence. In relationships, you will see the trade of needs beneath the words of love. Some of you will be tempted to despair, to think, if everything is strategy, if everyone is self-interested, what's the point? But that is weakness speaking. That is the voice of those who would rather cling to comforting illusions than face power directly. Here is the Machiavellian truth. This knowledge does not destroy connection. It makes genuine connection possible. Because when you strip away illusions, when you meet people as they are, not as they pretend, you finally deal with reality. Strategic love is stronger than blind love. Conscious loyalty is more durable than naive loyalty. And respect, forged in fear and admiration, lasts longer than shallow affection. From this moment forward, you hold a weapon that most men will never touch: clarity. You can no longer be manipulated by surface words, because you will always ask, what do they gain? You can no longer be blindsided by betrayal, because you will expect it and prepare for it. You can no longer be shaken by appearances, because you will know they are masks, and masks can be read. Machiavelli's greatest gift was not cynicism, it was vision. He showed that human nature is not noble, not pure, but predictable. And in predictability lies power. So I leave you with this challenge. Do not just consume this knowledge, apply it. In the next week, observe 3 people in your life and decode their real motivations. Notice the mask. Notice the self-interest. Notice the pattern. And then ask yourself, what mask am I wearing? Because the first empire is always the empire of self. And the man who rules himself cannot be ruled by others. You have crossed the threshold. The illusions are gone. Now the question is simple. Will you remain a spectator of the game, or will you become its strategist?